Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 962A, and today's date is May 4th, 2016, and the title of the episode is The War on Cash Has Begun. ECB fires the first shot. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. I uploaded an interview with Jason Burak. It is on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube, type in X22 Report Spotlight. It'll bring you right over to the video. Or you can come over to the X22Report.com site, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side. You'll see the video there. Or go to NewsSentinel.com. Same thing. Scroll down a little bit, look over to the right-hand side, and you can play the video there. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the market closed down today around 100 or so points, but we see gold is being suppressed. Now, there was a point where gold hit around $1,300 per ounce, and we knew, like clockwork, that the U.S. government central bankers were going to suppress gold. And I thought it was going to happen Monday, and it looks like it started on Tuesday, moving into Wednesday, and we see gold continually dropping at this point. Now, I think we'll have probably one more day. It'll probably level off. And we can see at this point that gold only dropped a certain amount, not as much as it increased. I mean, right now we see gold is holding pretty steady. And the next leg up most likely will be a lot more. And then they're going to suppress it once again. So if you're looking to purchase silver or gold at this point, what I would do is I would wait for that suppression point and then purchase the gold all the way up as gold is rising. And this is what I've been doing. Now, I know a lot of people, they don't have the money, the funds to do this, but you don't have to buy a full ounce. You can buy a tenth. You can buy a quarter. You can then move to silver. You don't have to buy a 1 ounce silver coin. You can buy a half an ounce. You can buy a tenth. So there are ways around it. There are ways that you can get some of this precious metal to ensure your wealth going forward. Because as we can see at this point, the dollar is going to be devalued. The dollar is going to collapse. And it's going to be absolutely worthless. This is why they're looking to create some other type of currency. And it looks like they might be going or trying to push an electronic currency. And we discussed that yesterday, called Chain. And what we're seeing right now is the entire private Western Central Bank world, they're pushing the idea of a cashless society because they realize at this point, as the economy falls apart, they don't want you to hold cash. They want all the currency under their control. Now, we're seeing the economy continually fall apart. Aeropostale, they filed Chapter 11, and we knew this was going to happen. The sales just aren't there, and we're seeing a lot of stores right now. And as we go throughout this spring into summer, we're going to see a lot more stores file for Chapter 11. A couple of reports ago, we discussed all the different stores through 2015, 2016 who filed Chapter 11 or filed for bankruptcy because they just can't make it. The people don't have the discretionary funds. The people lost their job. And we're seeing that the people today, 90% of American households, they have lost their wealth. Now, Levy Economics Institute, they found that 90% of Americans, they are worse off financially in 2015 than in any time since the 70s, the 1970s. And the vast majority of Americans, they are in a prolonged period of stagnation. It's worse than Japan. So when Obama comes out and the Fed comes out and tells us that everything is fine, the economy's doing well, well, guess what? They're lying to us once again. And since the Great Recession, 99% of American households have seen their net worth fall since 2007, according to the study. Now, remember what happened back then. People lost their homes. they had some short sales on their houses. If they had investment houses, they lost that. A lot of people lost their retirement. A lot of people lost their jobs. They never got back on their feet. They only could find part-time jobs or the same job paying a lot less. But guess what? Their bills didn't disappear. They still had car payments. They still had rent or housing payments. And a lot of people lost their wealth and never recovered. I know many of these people. And we see right now, even though the government is telling us that unemployment is at 5%, it was at 4.9, probably going to be going down to 4.8 right before the elections. These are not high-paying quality jobs. These are low-paying jobs. So people are coming from high-paying jobs going to low-quality, low-paying jobs. Many people are saying, you know something, I can't even find anything. And what's very interesting was I was in a store the other day, and people were handing in applications at the counter. They are looking for a job. And the person behind the counter said, you're number 27. I have 27 applications ahead of you that want a position. And we only have one position to fill here. And it's a low-paying job. And most, high schoolers, college students would go for these jobs. But I'm seeing middle-aged people applying for these type of jobs. And this proves that there's a lot of people out there. They can't find the jobs. They're submitting the resumes, but there's a lot of people submitting all at the same time, and it's very difficult to find these jobs. Now, durable goods, the final data for March, it is ugly. And what we're seeing right now is that durable goods, they dropped by 1.4% year on year. This is the most since December of 2015. But the overall level fell to its lowest since December of 2013. Now, this is the 14th straight month year-on-year decline. And we are in a recession/depression heading to a collapse because every time we've seen this, it's been the same exact thing. Even though the government is telling us everything is fine, even though the Fed says the economy's doing well, guess what? We're already there. Actually, you hear rumblings out of the corporate media saying, if this happens, we're going to be back into a recession. And they're starting to use the information to get people used to hearing this information. Now, what's funny is, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, the president came out and said everything was absolutely fine? Well, it is not. We see the U.S. monthly international trade deficit decrease substantially in March of 2016 from $47 billion in February to $40 billion in March, below the $41.2 billion expected. Manufacturing. In the 60 years, the U.S. economy has never suffered 17-month continuous year-on-year drop in factory orders without being in a recession. The Department of Commerce confirmed that in March, U.S. factory orders, despite rising a little bit, declined for 17 consecutive months, dropping 4.2% from a year ago. This is a complete disaster. Now, to add to all of this, we talked about how the ECB was going to be getting rid of the 500 euro note. Well, guess what? They just fired the first shot. ECB is going to be ending production of the 500 euro banknote. It's going to stop around 2018. They're going to start getting rid of all of it. Why are they getting rid of it? Why are they doing this right now? Well, we have to remember the 500 euro note is the second highest currency denomination in G10. More importantly, the total value of the 500 euro note in circulation amounts to 306 billion euros. Now, the only other note that has a higher circulation is the 50 euro note. Now, this paves the way for the U.S. to get rid of $100 bills, because the $100 bill accounts for 1.08 trillion of the 1.38 trillion total in circulation. So what we're seeing right now is they're making their move. Now, of course, they just can't get rid of it all at once. It's a very big task. So they're going to have to expand it out and say, okay, we're going to stop printing. We're not going to be issuing this anymore. We're going to start collecting them. Greece is already telling everyone to hand them in already. So we see the writing is on the wall. Now, why do they want to do all of this? Because they realize when the economy falls apart and the whole thing collapses, and I think what we're going to see in a collapse, just like we saw back in 2008, we're going to see a drop in the market. They're going to try to pump it back up, but that will be the beginning of the collapse. That is a huge signal at that point to say, okay, I better have everything prepared. If you see the market come down 2, 3, 4,000 points, and you hear the government, the Fed, come out and say they're going to start QE4, that is your signal at that point to start getting your preps in order. Make sure you have everything, because that going forward, we're in big trouble. Everything is going to decline. Now, they're going to pump it up for a short-term period, but we're going to see a huge drop after that. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of all of the currency at this point so they can use the bail-ins. Now, the crash, most likely, the signal, the government coming out saying we're in trouble, that we need QE4, will start maybe at the end of this year, maybe in 2017. We don't know for sure. But once it does, because we're already seeing signs that gold is being suppressed, gold is making huge leaps up. That is the first sign. And once we see the market come down and they pump it back up, that is the second sign. And this is telling us at this point that everything is ready to go. We're moving in that direction. And they will use the bail-ins. To use the bail-ins, they can't have cash floating around. They need everyone's currency inside the banks. This is why they are starting this now. And we need to watch the next move. If they make an announcement about the $100 bills in the next couple of months, we know we are on our way. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.